this was actually written in the 17th century, so it's like a scholarly manual. And I need the help of a scholar. So I'd like to ask Dr. Jen. If she can come and read out of this book. We didn't practice, okay?
That's good.
This is do your best with the Chinese, okay?
The Mustard Seed Garden Manual of Painting. People nowadays enjoy looking at landscape paintings as much as at the scenery itself. Panels of screens offer countless vistas and scrolls and albums spread before us at a variety of scenes. Distant hills and plains, blue-green mountain peaks, and murmuring brooks. At one moment, a landscape may appear overcast with mist and clouds. At another, the view emerges clear and fair. Or one may find oneself by a spring of pure flowing water, ready to set out over hills and ravines, free to roam without having to wax one's sandals or take up a bamboo staff. It is one thing, however, to look at pleasant pictures painted by other people, and another matter entirely to paint such pictures. Appreciating the works of others, one is essentially a spectator receiving impressions, whereas in painting pictures, the conception originates and rises from the deepest recesses of the heart. There is this significant difference in the approach to landscape painting. All my life I have loved landscape painting, but it has been the pleasure of looking at other people's work, for I myself cannot paint. In the past, when I used to travel, I often met painters, men who had followed in the footsteps of Mao Qing and Cheng Kang, who kindly let me discuss with them the Tao in painting. When, however, I began to ask questions, they would knit their brows and declare, "It is easy to appreciate the idea of Tao, but quite another matter to give it form." I have been ill now for the past year and unable to travel, being confined to sitting or lying in my room, shut off from all other activities. Fortunately, I have paintings, and so can unroll whole landscapes on my table. They are here before me, even while I eat or sleep. I enjoy this kind of wandering while at rest. It has prompted me to write on one of these scrolls many walled cities under my roof and many landscapes before my eyes. In my solitude, I have regretted not having the knowledge and ability to write about this branch of the 7 manifestations. This thought was in my mind one day when I was talking with my son-in-law, Yin Pu, and I said to him, "Painting is an ancient art. How is it that there are excellent treatises on the painting of figures, birds, animals, flowers, and plants? Yet the most important category, landscape, seems to have been neglected. Do you suppose that most of us can only enjoy looking at landscape paintings? That while we may understand the idea of Tao in paintings, it is really impossible for us to be more definite about it? Is it true, do you suppose, that landscape painters through the centuries have purposely guarded this secret among themselves?" Thereupon, Yin Pu brought out an album. "This has been in our family for many generations," he said. At the sight of the album, my curiosity was aroused. On examining it carefully, I found that it contained copious examples of the methods of individual masters of various schools of landscape painting. I particularly noted the comments and their calligraphic style, for they all seemed to bear the touch of Cheng Kang, of our family. At the end of the album were 2 seals, inscribed Li Family Collection and Lu Fang, which confirmed my impression that the album was compiled by Cheng Kang. Since the album was a record of a private collection, the material and its arrangement were not suitable for a manual of painting. Just then, however, Yin Pu brought out another album, and he smilingly exclaimed, "When I was living at the Mustard Seed Garden in Nanking, I commissioned Wang Ancheng to rearrange, enlarge, and edit the whole work, an arduous task. Finally, after 3 years, he completed the work. Eagerly, I took up the album and examined it. I could not help applauding the whole and each of its parts, stopping here and there to sigh with admiration. The plan of the book included the original 43 pages, to which had been added detailed instructions on the painting of tree and branches, including methods of dotting leaves and of drawing mountain ranges, peaks, rivers, and waterfalls, as well as banks, slopes, rocks, bridges, paths, palaces, houses, boats, and carts. Wang Ancheng, in moments of leisure, had copied out the whole work, enlarging and rearranging it to a total of 133 pages. He included examples of the styles of many of the masters of every important school of painting. Furthermore, to aid the beginner, he added 40 pages of text on brushwork and the handling of ink tones, composition, and perspective. Following the instructions in this book, one could eventually paint a picture of what hitherto had been locked in one's imagination, could produce results, as it were, with a few twists of the wrists. Would it not be a pity to hide this wonderful book from the world? I have been most anxious to see it published, so that generation after generation of those who love to look at landscapes may also learn to appreciate landscape painting, and, moreover, may not only read the manual, but also try to paint. For, as the saying goes, thus may 10,000 miles be illustrated in a foot, and one may wander in a landscape while actually at rest and never have to go any distance.